Hey everybody. For the last 2 days now, I've been treating this tank for red slime cyanobacteria. This is in fact my brackish tank, and I've had trouble with this cyanobacteria in here forever. I don't know when I got it, I don't know how I got it in there. It's been in this tank for a couple of years now, and I've beaten it back with the treatment that we're using now on a few occasions, but I've never been able to completely eradicate it. And I've finally given up using the treatment, and I've just been sort of keeping on top of it by doing water changes and vacuuming it and just wiping the glass down, etc. Very high maintenance approach to keeping on top of this red slime cyanobacteria. So I finally gave up recently, and I decided I'm going to switch this tank over to a completely new tank and just start over fresh. So while I'm waiting for the new tank to cycle in and while I'm getting my ducks in a row, I'm getting really tired of doing constant maintenance on this tank to pull the cyanobacteria out. So 2 days ago I started treating for it, and now we're going to do a water change, and that will be my first cycle of treatment. You're supposed to do it for 2 days, do a nice big water change, and then let the tank rest, and if need be, you can do a second treatment. But I'm going to let the tank rest for a day or two, and then I'm going to do a second treatment rather than back to back. So if you look in there, you can see where the cyanobacteria is, and it's not bright red anymore in a lot of the areas. It's gotten a lot browner and darker, but you can also see in some of the areas it is still very much bright red, and that to me indicates that it's probably not dead in those areas where you can still see it's bright red. So as I suspected, I'm probably not going to get completely on top of this, but I'm going to beat it back enough that for the remaining month to 6 weeks that this tank will be set up, I probably won't have a ton of maintenance to do. It'll be just enough that I can handle it for the next few weeks, next month, maybe 6 weeks, until I get the new tank completely set up and running. So I'm not going to do a bunch of video of me actually cleaning the tank. All I'm going to do is a water change the filter pads out, and wipe the glass down a little bit. There's nothing really to see there. So we will do a before and after though. So this is your before. Have a good look, and in a few moments we'll get to see what it looks like after the water change and once I've wiped the glass down a little bit. Alright, as I expected, there's not a lot of difference. You may be able to tell that the water is very yellow, and that is because I decided I was not even going to give that stuff a day to recover. I just hit it with the second dose immediately after doing the first water change. Now the water level was low enough that when I did the 5-gallon drain, I pulled 5 gallons out, and you can see right here it didn't pull a ton of stuff out of there, but I did get a fair amount of nastiness off the bottom, and a lot of that stuff came loose. But because the water level was low when I started, and because of the displacement of the rocks and everything, I wound up lowering the water level about halfway down the tank, and so I decided I would just go ahead, after doing such a large water change like that, I felt comfortable just going ahead and doing a second treatment on it back to back like that. I did want to point out something very important, however. When I did the first treatment, and I'll attach a card right here, so if you want to watch the video of my first treatment and see how I actually did it, again, it's nothing complicated. You simply measure out, mix it up, and pour it in the tank. The air stone is critical, however. If you do want to do it, read the instructions, follow the instructions, and use that air stone. It will save your fish's life. In that video, however, I mixed up some brackish water. I discussed the fact that I no longer had a working refractometer, and I had just been going by the same measurement that I've used for all these years, and I've never really thought twice about it. So I recently got a refractometer, and in that video it was the first use of it, and I was really surprised to find out that the same measurement I had been using for all this time came up very low on the scale on specific gravity. I was at 0.1004 when it should have been 1.008. So I just kind of scratched my head about it, and I figured I'd been wrong all this time. It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong. But one of my viewers actually suggested that since it was a brand new refractometer, make sure it was calibrated, and maybe that's where the discrepancy was. So sure enough, when I mixed up this latest batch of brackish water, I used some of my RO water, which should have a specific gravity of 0.0, and I was actually about where 4/10 below zero would have been. I was actually way below the scale. So I corrected, I adjusted and calibrated it, and when I remeasured, my measurement came out spot on, right where I expected it to be. So it turns out that I was right all along with my measurements, and good call to my viewer for suggesting that I calibrated my equipment. So always something to learn, always something to think about. It's really easy to overlook stuff. So I always appreciate input, and never feel like you shouldn't, maybe throw something out there that crosses your mind when you're watching my videos. I always appreciate all the input I get. It's often quite helpful to me. I learn a lot from my viewers. So thanks again for that. And I hope you enjoyed this one. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to watch the progress of this tank. Again, we are in the process of moving it over, at least moving the residents over into a new tank. And for the last little bit of this video, I'll give you a look at what that tank looks like. And we are on our way to getting this one set up. So that's going to be their new home. Maybe another month to 6 weeks, something like that. Again, I'm in no hurry to do it, but that's where everybody's going to be not long from now. So if you're subscribed, you won't miss the big move. You won't miss the finishing up, cleaning the tank, etc., etc. So thanks for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, please subscribe, and I will see you real soon on the next one.